Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Discussions. Now, I promised this in yesterday's episode. Tonight is a big episode. Today's a big one. Obviously, tonight is the Royal Rumble. We're going to be discussing the Royal Rumble, predictions, breaking down some of the matches, even the Royal Rumble matches themselves, and who I think might win, who I think might return, who I think might be possible entrants, as well as we're going to go over the results of last night's Friday Night Smackdown and last night's AEW Rampage. Now, I'm going to start with Smackdown. And SmackDown was huge. SmackDown opened up with a huge kickoff, with all these Royal Rumble entrants, in the middle of the ring. We had the Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, The Miz, Austin Theory, the United States Champion. Bobby Lashley came out and took out just about everyone. And then Brock Lesnar, of all people, who was at Raw 30. He cost Bobby Lashley a match against Austin Theory for the U.S. title at Raw 30, and here he was last night on Friday Night SmackDown, F5 to Bobby Lashley, total chaos everywhere, and he has officially declared the Royal Rumble match. That is huge. I had said this, well, actually, I don't know if I said this on this channel or not. I might have, but I know there was a lot of talk of a potential Brock Lesnar versus Gunther match at WrestleMania, and I personally would rather see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. I think that is much more headline worthy, especially because of the storyline that has been built up. It is another long-term storyline, and I am all for it. I'm all for the idea of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar feuding all the way up until WrestleMania, maybe potentially bringing the Hurt Business into this. The Royal Rumble is going to be huge, first of all, and the fact that we know Brock Lesnar is going to be there, the fact that we know Bobby Lashley is going to be there, Austin Theory is going to be there, The New Day, Miz, Seth Rollins, Ricochet, etc., 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 we know it's going to be huge, right? And so already, just last night on Friday Night SmackDown, to have that number of wrestlers and that chaos, that amount of chaos, was huge. Now, we also saw Sami Zayn, he's not supposed to be on Friday Night SmackDown, right? Roman Reigns was very specific. I don't want to see you until Saturday. I don't want to see you until the Royal Rumble. Now, I'm not sure what that means, because Roman Reigns even stated, you're going to prove yourself at the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean that Sami Zayn is going to get involved in the Roman Reigns-Kevin Owens match? I'm not sure. However, Sami Zayn was on SmackDown. He did sneak his way onto SmackDown before he went inside. He didn't go inside. He talked to Jey Uso. He wanted to thank Jey Uso for having his back, for standing up for him. Him and Jey, very close lately. Jey, he told him to go. He said, listen, you can't be here. You know you can't. He said, I love you, Uso, but you gotta go. And the bond that these two have developed is incredible. I love this storyline. Like, the Bloodline and Sami Zayn storyline has truly made me fall in love with the Bloodline so much. Like, I'm not a Roman Reigns fan. I'm not a fan of the Usos. I'm not a fan of Solo Sikoa. However, this idea, like, this storyline with Sami Zayn and everything, it's making me fall in love with it. Like, I'm just so in love with this entire thing right now. Now, on top of that, we saw later on Friday Night SmackDown, we saw Sami Zayn and we saw the Usos get kicked out, essentially, because they almost got into a brawl with Kevin Owens backstage, who was fighting Solo Sikoa in the main event. Now, the Usos got kicked out, but Jey Uso made a phone call. And I think everyone knew who that phone call was to. It was to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn had told him before he left, he said, listen, you need anything at all, I've got you. I've got you. And looks like Jey Uso did have a favor. He asked Sami Zayn to assist Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa and Kevin Owens really going at it in that main event. It was a really great match. However, Sami Zayn saved Solo Sikoa. He got his foot on the bottom rope, and it just led into an all-out chaos, all-out brawl. Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa, going back and forth with one another. Solo Sikoa accidentally hit a super kick on Sami Zayn. That had to be rough. Kevin Owens even proceeded to look Sami in the eye with a steel chair and say, this is what they're going to do to you. And he whacked Solo Sikoa with the steel chair, and he said, that's going to be you at the Royal Rumble. That's what they're going to do to you tomorrow night. That's what they're going to do to you. And Kevin Owens might be speaking truth, because here lately Roman Reigns, here lately the Usos, here lately Solo Sikoa, and the Bloodline, it's hard to say where they stand with Sami. We know where Jey Uso stands with Sami Zayn. But where does Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, where does he stand with Sami Zayn? He thinks that Sami and Kevin are conspiring against him. He thinks that Sami Zayn has infiltrated the bloodline. And I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'm saying, what does Roman believe at this point, and what is he going to believe by tonight in this Rumble match at the Royal Rumble? What is he going to believe when it comes down to it? Now, we also saw Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. The tag team tournament did continue last night. However, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were attacked from behind by the Viking Raiders. They were unable to compete, and so Ricochet and Braun Strowman took their place. This changes the game completely, because here lately, the teams that have been fighting the Usos have been teams that aren't official teams, because the Usos have been taking out all the tag teams to the point where they are making new teams. Now, Ricochet and Braun Strowman, yes, they have a strong, solid friendship, and we'll see how good that friendship takes them. Like, we'll see if that friendship takes them into the Royal Rumble. We'll see if that ends tonight, or if that continues even after tonight. However, all that being said, they won. They beat Hit Row, and that's interesting considering Hit Row has been turning heel. That's interesting because Hit Row betrayed Ricochet. They attacked Ricochet. They have issues with Ricochet and Strowman, and they won. Now, I don't know if this means that Hit Row is done in terms of Braun and Ricochet, or if they're just getting started with them. However, I am not changing my pick. Imperium did defeat Legado del Fantasma, and I am still going to say, hands down, that I think Imperium is going to win this tournament. I think Imperium is set to take on the Usos, and I say that because I think Solo Sikoa is set to take on Gunther for the Intercontinental title, and I think this is going to set them up for an incredible journey to get to that point. On top of all that, we even saw a very comedic LA Knight dress up as a former version of Bray Wyatt. We saw him tap into his inner Bray Wyatt, I guess. And this is interesting because many people have talked about, many people have taken to YouTube in the past and said, I don't like this storyline. I don't like Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. I think they're ruining Bray Wyatt's character since the moment he came back. Here's the thing, though. I think this is good. And I'll get into it a little more as we talk about the actual predictions and stuff for the Royal Rumble. But I think this is a very good opportunity for that of Bray Wyatt and for that of LA Knight. Because LA Knight is an entertaining character. Dare I say, he's more entertaining than that of The Miz on the microphone, just due to the simple fact that his voice doesn't stop. He keeps talking. He doesn't care if the audience is booing him. He doesn't care what's going on around him. He doesn't care. He's loud, he's obnoxious, he's never ending, and people, whether you love him or hate him, you love him, essentially, because even if you're booing him, deep down you love him because you love his banter, you love his, it's like how every time MJF comes out in AEW and he says, I am a generational talent, or how Miz used to say, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. Just that's the thing. It's that iconicness that everyone loves because that's what LA Knight has created with the yeah, or with the let me talk to you, that's LA Knight. That's what he's been doing since NXT, and he brought that onto the main roster, and he's bringing that into this match against Bray Wyatt, and that's going to be huge, and he brought it onto Smackdown. He's proving that he is not scared of Bray Wyatt. He's trying to prove that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he's trying to prove that he's not scared. Now, we also saw in the women's division, we saw Lacey Evans return. She beat Xia Li in an impressive match. And obviously, she's been built up for a while these past couple of weeks. And I'm hoping she's in the Royal Rumble. I think she's a potential candidate to win the Rumble, but we'll talk about that as it goes on. Um, or I'm sorry, it wasn't Xia Li, it was Jasmine Allure. My apologies. Um, got thrown for a bit of a loop there. But either way, great victory from Lacey Evans. We also saw Rey Mysterio defeating Karrion Kross. Now, this is huge. This rivalry has been going on for a little while. Karrion Kross has declared the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio has declared the Royal Rumble. So obviously, this rivalry, it's not ending quite yet. And I don't think it should end yet. I think this idea of Karrion Kross wanting to retire Rey Mysterio is interesting because there's been talk of a Rey Mysterio WrestleMania retirement match. There's been talk of that. There's been talk about Karrion Kross. Obviously, Karrion Kross has been saying in his promos, I want Rey Mysterio gone. Rey Mysterio needs to leave. He needs to be out of this roster. That's interesting. That's something that people have to look at and realize, well, hey, this is all going into the Royal Rumble. Like, SmackDown, I think, was very good last night because it did a great job at building up to the Royal Rumble, and it did a great job at giving us these blueprints for what could potentially not just go into the Royal Rumble, but what could potentially go into the rest of the WrestleMania season that we are now building up to. Now, moving on real quick to Rampage last night, we saw a very, slightly, decent Rampage. As you know, I'm not a big fan of Rampage. I haven't been a big fan of Rampage for a while. Last night we saw Adam Page versus Wheeler Yuta, and I was correct in saying that Hangman Adam Page won the match. That was my prediction. We also saw, which I think is important because Hangman Adam Page is going into a match on Dynamite this week, taking on Jon Moxley, and this is an important build-up, especially due to the fact that he beat Moxley's friend, he beat Moxley's partner in the Blackpool Combat Club of Wheeler Yuta, and so that's pretty big. We also saw Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh take on Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Danhausen, and I've got to say, for once in my life, Tony Khan, you actually did something right. You did not have Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh lose. You had them win, and I'm glad. Satnam Singh, honestly, I was impressed by Satnam Singh. I liked his in-ring wrestling capability. I liked Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal throughout the match. I think the match itself could have been a little bit better in certain spots, but I think all in all, it was a decent match. I think it was a well-done match, and I'm impressed. We also saw Powerhouse Hobbs in action last night. Obviously, I was correct in saying Powerhouse Hobbs was going to win, and he fought a nobody. And I think Powerhouse Hobbs is going to move on to greater heights. I think Powerhouse Hobbs, very impressive talent, very impressive wrestler, and obviously they have him as this Rampage wrestler for now, but I think later down the line, he's going to move on. And I think eventually he's going to go for the TNT title again. We also saw Jamie Hayter with Britt Baker and Rebel by her side taking on Emma. I'm I'm sorry. I forget how you taking on. Taking on Sakura. It was a very, very great. Honestly, I think this was match of the night. Sakura was doing impressive move after impressive move, pin after pin. Hayter kept kicking out. This was one of Jamie Hayter's biggest matches yet, and this was by far one of her most impressive matches yet because she didn't cheat. She didn't cheat, and Jamie Hayter has been proving herself more and more and more as the weeks have been going on. And I think I think it's safe to say that Jamie Hayter is going to become a babyface very soon, if she's not already. I think Jamie Hayter is very impressive as the AEW Women's World Champion, and I like the fact that her and Maxwell Jacob Friedman won their titles around the same time, and that they're bringing in a new era for AEW in their divisions because they are two wrestlers that pretty much kind of came up in AEW. They're almost AEW homegrown names at this point, and so I'm glad to see them have this moment. And I'm glad to see them be able to bring in other wrestlers, like how MJF brought in Ricky Starks, and how Jamie Hayter is bringing in, honestly, more so how Jamie Hayter is just bringing in herself. Like, she has improved me. She's been improving very much. She got the chance to wrestle Hikaru Shida, who, obviously Hikaru Shida hasn't been utilized as much lately, and so that was very important for Hikaru Shida. And she's been, Toni Storm and Ruby Soho are now starting to get somewhere, because Toni Storm for a little while was losing her footing. Ruby Soho for the past few months, if not longer, has been losing her footing in AEW, and she's finally slowly starting to get that back. And so I think all of that is very important going into this, and I'm very happy with that match last night, and I'm even more happy that Jamie Hayter secured the win and made my prediction correct. Now, finally, moving on to the Royal Rumble. Oh my god, I have so much to talk about going into this. We're going to kick it off with the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match of Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Now, this is long-term storytelling at its finest. This is going all the way back to 2020. The last time these two fought in singles action was at the Royal Rumble of 2021 in a last man standing match, but this rivalry started all the way back at Survivor Series of 2020, and it was huge. I mean, Kevin Owens is an impressive wrestler, and Kevin Owens is a true, genuine fighter. Now, this match has no stipulation. This is a simple title match, but Kevin Owens, it's safe to say that he's going to be fighting the entirety of the Bloodline tonight. He's been taking on the Bloodline week after week after week, and I think it's safe to say that tonight, going into this match against Roman Reigns, going into this match against the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, he's going to have to be incredibly smart with this. And again, bringing in this factor, this X factor, this variable that no one seems to know what to think of right now is Sami Zayn. Because what does this mean going into tonight? What does this mean for Sami? He was at Smackdown last night. He disobeyed Roman Reigns' orders. Roman Reigns said, "I don't want to see you until Saturday. I don't, you know what I mean?" And so this is interesting. This is is Sami Zayn with the Bloodline? Is he against the Bloodline? Is Roman going to accept Sami Zayn? Is he going to betray is he going to push Sami Zayn away? I don't understand. Because at this point, it could be that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are planning a coup. It could be that they are conspiring against Roman Reigns together, and that Sami Zayn has been on Team Owens this entire time. However, I don't know what to think of this in the first place. Now, we're also seeing a Raw Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. I forgot to give my prediction for this match, for the Universal Championship. Prediction-wise, I've got to go with Roman Reigns. I love Kevin Owens, and I've wanted Kevin Owens to be the Universal Champion since 2020 when he fought Roman Reigns at TLC the first time. However, that being said, I think where Roman Reigns is right now in the totem pole, I think where this storyline with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn is, I think that Roman Reigns is going to win tonight. And I think, well, I'll get a little bit more deeper as we get into the actual men's Royal Rumble, but I think Roman Reigns is going to retain the belt tonight. We're also going to see the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair defend the title against Alexa Bliss. Now, I've got to say this right now. I think Alexa Bliss is going to win tonight. I think Bianca Belair's time is finally up. I think Alexa Bliss has been giving into her dark side. And to be quite honest with you, I think Bianca Belair is underestimating Alexa Bliss. The way she cuts her promos, the way that she's been talking about Alexa Bliss, even the way she fought Alexa Bliss, in the New Year, like the Monday Night Raw that she defended her title against Bliss a few weeks back, she wrestled almost like she was underestimating Alexa Bliss. And I think Alexa Bliss realizes that. And I think she's going to take that to her advantage. And I think on top of that, Uncle Howdy is going to be there. Bray Wyatt is going to be there. I think one way or another, we are going to see something unfold between Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt tonight. Whether it be during the Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss match, or the LA Knight and Bray Wyatt match, something is going to unfold. And personally, I think Alexa Bliss is going to become the new Raw Women's Champion tonight, because I think this is long-term storytelling. Once again, Alexa Bliss got eliminated from the Elimination Chamber match of 2022 by Bianca Belair. This is long-term storytelling. Bianca Belair is the reason Alexa Bliss didn't go to WrestleMania last year. Bianca Belair is the reason Alexa Bliss didn't fight Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title last year. Bianca Belair is the reason that Alexa Bliss is not Raw Women's Champion right now. And so I think going into this match, I think Alexa Bliss is going to use that anger, that rage, that dark side persona that has been boiling up and being recreated because of Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, and I think that she is going to successfully win the Raw Women's Championship tonight. Now, we also are going to see the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, this is huge. The Men's and Women's Royal Rumble. I'll start with the Women's. There are 3 major prospects I have for winning this match. That is Lacey Evans, Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan. And I'm going to start with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans has been built up with vignettes and trailer promos and all this and that going into this. And last night, she had an impressive victory, showing off her little strength right before the Royal Rumble. This could be Lacey Evans' moment, because it reminds me of, whenever I think of the Royal Rumble, I think of 2011, when Alberto Del Rio, week after week after week, was coming out on the microphone saying the Royal Rumble was his moment, and it was his time to shine, and then he won the Rumble. And so every time I think of the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble starts coming around the corner, I try to analyze and see who's really being built up right now, who's really winning match after match, cutting promo after promo, all this and that, and, they're declaring for the Royal Rumble, that sort of thing, and I think that person's going to win. And I think Lacey Evans could potentially be that for the Women's Royal Rumble. On top of that, though, Rhea Ripley has been making a lot of talk. She's been talking about breaking history. She's been talking about winning the Women's Royal Rumble. On top of that, if Bianca Belair retains the title tonight, I 100% think Rhea Ripley is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble, because I think Rhea Ripley is a top prospect to fight Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I think that this match didn't happen at Money in the Bank. It was supposed to. And on top of that, it's a match that the fans have been wanting to see. Rhea Ripley is the only woman that I've seen so far manage to really take down Bianca Belair with pure brutality, with pure strength. And I think these two are going to match up very well. I think Rhea Ripley is the only woman that might actually be able to handle Bianca Belair pound for pound, strike for strike. Strength and speed and accuracy, I think they match up incredibly well. And so Rhea Ripley is definitely a top prospect. That being said, I also think Rhea Ripley is going to be in the Men's Royal Rumble. I think Rhea Ripley is going to pull a Beth Phoenix to try and mock Beth Phoenix. I think Rhea Ripley is going to try and do what Nia Jax did in 2019. And it very well could happen, because they've been building Rhea Ripley up for something like that. And so I very well think that we might see that going later on down the line. And on top of that, I think Liv Morgan's a prospect for the Women's Royal Rumble, because she's been going through a new phase lately. She's been going through this new phase, and she's been channeling her darker side and channeling her more extreme side. And on top of that, if she wins the Women's Royal Rumble, I think she's going to challenge Charlotte Flair. Because her and Charlotte Flair go way back. I mean, Charlotte Flair is the reason Liv Morgan is this version of Liv Morgan. Back when Liv Morgan was all pink hair and blue ton and would skip her way down the ring, Charlotte Flair beat her. And she told her that Liv Morgan to this point. And she's even said she's going to start the Women's Royal Rumble at number 1 because she wants to prove herself. She wants to win this match. My money, out of the 3 I just mentioned, my money is on Liv Morgan, because I want Liv Morgan to win. I think she's going to win, because I think this is long-term storytelling at its finest. I think her versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania is exactly what the fans want to see. and they might not even know they want to see it yet. Because think of the promos they can do with this, going all the way back to 2019 when Liv first left. It would be huge. It would be monumental. And I think it would certainly be a true underdog story for Liv Morgan, because when she cashed in at Money in the Bank, that was her moment, right? But it was squandered in the sense that Ronda Rousey was already down. She didn't get that moment of, I actually successfully defeated a 100% Ronda Rousey, right? Going into WrestleMania, if she could beat Charlotte Flair hands down for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania, the grandest stage of all, that would be Liv Morgan's moment. That would be her time. And I think she would have a great run from that point forward as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And so I'm going to say it right now. Women's Royal Rumble prediction, Liv Morgan. Now for the Men's Royal Rumble, we've got a number of top stars. Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Brock Lesnar, etc., etc., etc. In terms of returns, I think we're going to see Cody Rhodes. I think we're going to see Edge. I think we're going to see Chris Masters. I think we're going to see John Morrison. I think we're going to see The Rock. I think we're going to see Sami Zayn. The reason well, maybe not Sami, he's not a return, but in terms of returns, those are the ones I think we could potentially see, and I think we're going to see Edge amongst others. Now, as for The Rock, I don't know if we're going to see him, but you never know. It seems to me as though there's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of build up to it if they do that. However, there's also a lot of talk that Sami Zayn is going to win the Royal Rumble. And that's not a bad idea, right? Storyline-wise, Sami Zayn fits better than Cody Rhodes. Sami Zayn fits better than Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Sami Zayn fits better than Seth Rollins, or, you know what I mean? However, all of that being said, is Sami Zayn going to be a top star by WrestleMania? I mean, no offense to Sami, he's a tremendous athlete, but when was his last major title match? When was his last major moment that made him that top dog star that could make you think, oh my god, this guy's going to beat Roman Reigns? And so that's interesting. Because does Sami Zayn look like the kind of guy to beat Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal titles? I don't know. Or what if, because I was also thinking about this, in 2017, Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. And he had bowed down to Bray Wyatt and said, I will not challenge you for the title. I will not compete against you. What if Sami Zayn does win the Royal Rumble? And what if, when Roman Reigns said, you're going to prove yourself at the Rumble, what if that means you're going to prove yourself by winning the Rumble and then not using your opportunity to fight me at WrestleMania? It would give Roman Reigns a bye. Roman Reigns would not have to wrestle at WrestleMania. That would be huge. That would be ginormous. Because then it would build up to potentially who's going to fight Sami Zayn for an opportunity to fight at WrestleMania. Who's going to fight, you know what I mean? Who's going to compete against Roman Reigns then? And then that would open up a whole list, a whole category of superstars. So I think Sami Zayn's a top prospect. I also think Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are both top prospects. I think Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes have such a history that I think they're going to end up eliminating each other from tonight. I also think that if we see Dwayne The Rock Johnson return, I think we could potentially either see him win, or we could potentially either see him let Sami win. And that would be really interesting. All in all, though, I think there's a number of competitors going into this match. And I'm going to say it now, my final prediction for this evening. For a while, for the past few weeks, you guys have been hearing me talk about it. I've been saying it's going to be Seth. I've been saying Seth Rollins my pick, right? I'm going to say it hands down. I think the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble is going to be Sami Zayn. My money is on Sami Zayn for the Men's Royal Rumble match. Now, moving on, we're going to see Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight in a pitch black match. Obviously, Bray Wyatt's going to win that. That's my obvious prediction for that. However, I'm excited to see the extremity this match is going to go to. I'm excited to see the fact that Bray Wyatt's wrestling again, and I'm excited to see what this is going to lead to after the match, because obviously, like I said, you have Alexa Bliss, you have Bray Wyatt, same pay-per-view, same arena. So what are we going to see? Well, like, what is going to unfold that is going to build up Bray Wyatt's character even more? That is going to be huge. I'm excited for that. I can't wait for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to that's tonight's episode. And I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in. I was very excited to make this episode for you because I was so excited to get into the Royal Rumble, and it's gonna happen tonight. Make sure you tune in. 7 p.m. on Peacock is the kickoff. 8 p.m. on Peacock is the pay-per-view. Make sure you get it. Make sure you watch it. I'll catch you guys in the next one as always. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode with the Royal Rumble results. So stay tuned and peace out.